session for personnel at 6 o'clock. And just a correction on the agenda, it's open the door bids for the garage, not paving yet.
It really is paving.
Oh, it is?
Door is next week.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry. Wait, I was with you, but, Dave is on top of it.
invitation to bid, completed by. Bids will be submitted on or before April 17th.
Paving.
Door.
Oh, but we changed it today. That's a draft.
Oh,
That's what it is. I picked dates, but during the meeting, we actually changed it.
okay.
All right.
Diane.
For the moment, you'll have to leave it.
Website update.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And maybe open the review. Is there anything else we need to add?
Yeah, how you doing?
Can I motion to go into executive session for personnel?
Should we go into executive session?
All in favor? We have a motion to go into executive session.
See you later. You going out right now?
Sheila, we would like you to stay. All right, we'll go finish our ride. Sheila. All right, she's coming at 6.
I tried to say 6:15, 6:20.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because I figured you got
Good, thank you. Yeah.
opening the bids,
Yeah.
you could go over hearing visitors, kind of thing.
Okay. I would like to reconvene the meeting at 20 after. Did everybody sign all their paperwork here? Kurt, oh yeah, you can sign. Kurt,
You guys might want to move over there.
Here's 2.
Watch it. Ben's coming in for these guys.
Oh, yeah, I missed stuff.
Just remember to put it back out there. Back where it belongs.
Right here.
Right there. Okay, now you guys got to finish it. Watch that.
I gave up.
That can be open. That can be open. You get
I see one.
First order of business, we have bids to open. And then we can table that until later on in the meeting. We said we're opening at 6 o'clock, open the paving bid for Dave. Maybe not. Really seal them. We have one bid from Allstate Construction.
I really all say shirt on.
Okay. Oh, I don't want to hold him up either. It's for 1-inch hot mix asphalt shim. It's 100, how many roads are we doing?
Just East Road.
Okay.
We have a grant.
We have a grant for that. 150,000. And single chip seal at 81,000. Are these two separate?
It's one job, it's just, you shim it first and then chip seal it. That's what our grant's for.
So it's about 232. Well, seems we only have one bid.
How much does the grant cover? Of that, usually the whole thing?
No.
No, we were,
85.
so we were, I don't remember, because you guys ended up with that emergency meeting, if you recall, for the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
So some of it is covered by the ARPA funds, some of it's covered by the grant, and then some of it's,
I think we covered most of it by ARPA And we had money,
You did, and then you,
Saved for
yeah, you spent ARPA on other things, but those things are gonna cover the rest of that.
right. So I don't think there's any town money, any tax money that we have to raise for
No.
this. So. You wanna look it over, Dave, first, or you're good?
It's, I mean, it's pretty simple. Is there tonnage on that at all, Rob?
Yes, there is,
Yes.
yeah.
1,250 ton for the 1-inch hot mix asphalt shim and 22 SY
Square yards.
single chip seal.
And, we had it in there for, whoever does the job has to do the traffic control.
Right.
Is that in
Yes,
there?
yeah.
Okay.
Town will supply sweeping,
Yep.
submitted. Traffic control, all material, 1-year warranty, completed by September 15th, 2025.
That sounds like everything that we asked for.
Liability insurance here?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Dave, are you comfortable with this?
Yeah, that's what we figured.
Can I have a
Motion.
motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Next hearing with visitors.
Thank you.
Martina. Hi. Sorry to keep you waiting.
No, thank you for having us. Hello. Hi, everyone. It's been about a year since we've been here. We're going around to just some of the towns where we have projects going on and just wanted to give an update on U.S. Forest Service activities in Stamford and near Stamford as well. I've got some Martina Barnes, I'm the district ranger in Manchester, and I've got Stacy Stratton, who's our timber program manager, and Steve Pitlick, who's our, working on our rec projects, part of the time, and worthwhile projects also. So, yeah, we brought a map again, which we'll leave with you. We have, so we're just gonna kind of talk about primarily the timber activities happening and the recreation projects, ongoing, in both cases. I did want to mention, that the Dutch Hill timber sale, which is in Greensboro, but you probably, saw a lot of the activity and, maybe noticed that we had posted a closure order in that area due to safety concerns around public safety with the very large equipment, driving in and around that area over the winter months. And that logging is currently, has ended, and we have rescinded the closure order, so the area is now open for use again to the public. And Stacy can talk more specifically if you have questions about that, the future plans there, but, so that's positive news. And, the, Roaring Branch, timber sale, land acquisition, which is, also partially in Reedsboro, partially in Stamford, is still in the works, but it is due to staffing shortages on the forest. We're going to be losing our forest surveyor, so it's going to still be a while till that closes, that property closes. I don't want to venture a guess, but probably not within the next year for sure, if not longer. So,
Excuse me, you said part Reedsboro, that's that little,
yeah,
This piece right
that
there.
little piece up the top though.
Well, this is all a big piece, that's what.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes, and then in Reedsboro.
Oh, that's the- oh, okay.
right
You
here.
said that,
Oh, I
that
thought you
was
meant
land
the big piece
acquisition?
there.
Yeah, it's a donation from, Park Forestry, Mr., yeah.
Well,
is that the
That's all
one from
national.
Land of Public Trust?
That is the one with the Trust for Public.
So who owns the land now?
Yeah,
Still the Land of Public
exactly.
Trust?
The trust, yep, exactly.
Did you realize when you pursued that there's a water resource for Stanford that's being taken away? Broadbrook?
That's not Broadbrook.
it's part of that land that goes through there. And it used to feed the city of North Adams for about 150
I thought
years.
City of North Adams was further west.
farther
Was it
west, yeah.
further up?
Yeah, it comes down, it all comes down.
Because this is like up Roaring Brook Way, isn't it? Up Roaring
Yes,
Brook.
there's Brook Road and the other branch.
And which way does the river
Yeah,
travel?
yeah.
Where's Broadbrook?
Broadbrook's on the
Over
other
there.
side.
That's over to the west.
Who owns
This is
that
going up
land?
by Tim Washika.
Forest owns a lot over there. I don't know.
Forest has it now.
So that was part of the acquisition from North Adams?
Yes,
Yes.
about
Okay.
10, 12 years ago, I think.
2007, 2008.
I think, yeah.
How many acres is that?
That is one,
Yeah.
1420, 1,420.
So that's all national forest?
Well, it will be, right now it's owned by this non-profit called the Trust for Public Land.
Right.
So that's, they're basically holding it until the Forest Service
Right.
acquires it.
So if we wanted to query about a water source that we used to own with the National Forest, how would we do that?
What kind of question would you be asking?
Yeah.
Could we have water rights
Okay.
that the line is still there?
That, I don't know exactly the process, I mean, Martina would probably be.
There's a
Yeah.
pipe going from there to North Adams right now that they use right up to.
Right, I'd have to, our lands staff on the forest would have to look in the records for when that, like the.
I have one other
deeds.
question. We take a reduced fee from the National Forest on taxes. We, obviously, you pay very, very low taxes on the amount of land that you have. I think it's 20 or 30,000. Is there any way that we can get that scaled up because we can't do anything with it anymore? We can't. Our town can't grow because of all these sales that people in the past let go. So is there a way to query the government to get this raised up a little bit for the thousands of acres
You
that
mean
you
like
own?
the payment in lieu of taxes?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a way above my pay grade of being able to make those.
That's probably a political
Yeah,
answer.
that's a-
Have you ever heard of anybody going after it?
I mean, yeah, I think that's more, speak to your elected officials to, or that's not our, I mean, we're just.
No, okay, I'm just asking.
I'm just
There used to
being
be several
honest.
different ways, you know, the PILT, payment in lieu of taxes is something we use now, but we used to have secure rural schools.
Yeah.
And so like when we sold the timber sale, the town got 25% of all the proceeds, and I think that's gone away, and they decided to go with PILT because it's easier. You know, 'cause if a town said we don't want any logging, they didn't get any money from any of their land then. You know, that's what happened with that, but I think that is a political answer, I hate to say that, but that's probably
That's
what
fine,
it
I
is.
just thought while you're here.
Yeah.
No, it's a good question though.
It is a
Okay, thank you.
question, yeah.
I mean, to go back on the first question about like water systems, there are other towns that have water systems on the forest. Some of them require a special use permit. It depends what's located, if it's a well, a pump house. But I know of like some municipal systems that feed like a dozen homes in a community or something, and we have like South Wallingford has
Oh, okay.
a collection facility. It's on the forest, so there are ways to get
But
like.
you're talking specifically the Broadbrook area?
That's essentially what Broadbrook did.
Yes.
There's a couple houses over in Williamstown and part of North Adams, but
Yeah.
it's all, they're talking about ripping dams off and everything over.
Right,
So
if that. is
It's
that-
not gonna be a functional water source.
Like around like the dome trailhead.
Right,
Yeah.
that's-
Right there, right on White Oaks Road is,
Yes.
there's 2 dams right down at the bottom of that. Yeah.
So you're saying none of the water comes from Stamford and Marlboro?
All the water comes from Stamford. I mean, there's
So why would
water
you-
that comes from Stamford that goes into the Deerfield. There's water that comes from Stamford that goes over towards Bennington. Stamford's a source of water.
So North Adams took the time to spend a lot of money to pipe in, right up into Stamford. I've seen the pipes marked.
They're not gonna
North
use it
Adams.
anymore. They're gonna dismantle it.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's there, and it's a possibility for us, because there's no way we can dig wells here because of contamination of septic tanks. But if we could pipe in water, right, then we don't have to worry about the septic tanks. So it's just a thought. We've given away a couple, Sucker Pond, I think you,
I would assume you got
That's
some
owned by the town
hydrological
of
studies
Bennington.
before you
There's
log.
yeah.
Is there hydrological studies that are done before you?
Before you
There's
purchase,
watershed studies.
Yeah, well, yeah.
before you
What's
purchase.
Sucker Pond?
Well, yeah.
Stanford Pond.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I mean,
Like being back, they started.
Stanford Pond is what I'm, yeah.
I don't know, I mean, it was before I got here, but I would assume that, we did some type of research, see what we were getting and how it was being managed before, because we're gonna buy, we're gonna acquire a piece of land, we need to know who's got access to it. Usually it's in the deed or something like that, and because you have to manage for that.
Right.
Who keeps track of all the right-of-ways to your properties?
That's our, so the lands staff, and if it's the land staff, and they have all the files from each acquisition.
From each, you guys hold on to that?
Yeah, we hold on to that.
And there's public access, anybody can go and look at it?
I think you have to
Yeah,
ask
if
to
it-
schedule it, so we
Right,
can get it back.
can't
And that's held
show
where,
up,
where would you keep all that?
Those are kept with our land staff in the we have some on the district, as well as some are in the Mendon
It's
office.
up in the office, up in Mendon.
Headquarters, yeah, but we do have some. If we don't have it, then I usually refer people to our headquarters office. Since we have files, we have a lot of files there. From a lot of small acquisitions over the years. But we don't want to take up, we probably only have like a couple more minutes, so we can quickly, go over the.
Sure,
Other
like
than-
Martina, they've got her information, any questions you have that you come up with afterwards, let her know and we can pass it along. So my name's Stacy Stratton, I'm the timber manager, and I probably have met a lot of you here already over the years, or someplace, the woods or something, but, so the Camp Casino timber sales off Forest Road 73, or I guess that's Camp Casino Road, you got the other end of it, it's the Pecos Mill, that area, so that's almost all been harvested up there. So there's a little bit left, probably one winter, Hunter Excavation just didn't get to it this winter. They harvested the Dutch Hill sale instead. So the logging is done, the hauling is all left to do because the mills weren't taking any wood, there was a glut, so it's all sitting on the landings. But there's a ton of service work, there was a lot of soil damage from past, ATVs, off-road vehicles on that thin soil, but we've got contracts with Hunter to do water bars, trying to slow the water down, try to repair some of the damage, put up some rock barricades, do some site preparation to prepare for the next generation of trees coming in. Like beech bark disease is a big thing, so we go in and the trees that are damaged either by logging or they're dying, we usually will cut those down so it makes room for the new ones. That's for Dutch Hill. Roaring Brook, we didn't do any harvesting there this winter, but we have done some and kind of got stopped after the flood of 2023. We haven't been in there for that, but Cardinal Brook, over here, we did do some harvest on this winter. Just a skidder, cable skidder with a chainsaw, not much, but they've improved that road quite a bit if you've been over there. Broadbrook Timber Sale, there hasn't been any operations on that. That's another Hunter Excavation owns that one. The main access for that is off of Risky Ranch Road. There's an old road that goes in that way. Plus, we're trying to get some access in Powell. The Maltese Timber Sale, a lot of the units are off the Maltese Road, off the county road, and then off Risky Ranch. That got operated on a little bit this winter again. I think Mr. Senecal, Mike Senecal, I think he bought that. It's a stewardship. There's a lot of service work to go with that too. But I don't think we have any more sales down here planned, but we're gonna be in Reedsboro for some more sales over there. And Hoosick Ridge, and then another one over off the Howe Pond Road. So that's kind of, what you'll see us, more over there now.
What is the position of windmills in the National Forest today?
What is it?
What is your position on windmills?
Again, we have them on public land, but I don't know exactly
Position.
what the position is. We're waiting for that.
So you're not
It's a
buying-
policy issue, for the windmills.
We're not, there's no new
Plans to.
plans for
I was just
wind power.
wondering.
Yeah. And, sorry, we have a couple more quick minutes just to give a quick overview of the recreation.
Yeah, so, planner, been working down here on a couple of different projects, but recreation in general, the program priorities in Stamford include public access, offering dispersed recreation opportunities, and then managing trails for a variety of user groups. First, I'll talk a little bit about the Appalachian Trail. and corridor management. So we're focused on protecting the corridor that runs through Stamford. Over the past few years, there's the Seth Warner shelter in the Moldering Privy that was just south of County Road. Back in like the 80s, it was moved once from like user conflicts, which was dragged with a skidder. But we continue to see user conflicts at that site with, motorized vehicles and kids partying and things like that. So we dismantled that shelter, and there's a new Seth Warner shelter. It's 2 miles up from County Road on the Appalachian Trail. So that's completed with a new backcountry privy, brand new shelter. This summer, we're going to bring a bear box up there. We have a food closure order, basically, so you don't attract bears to your site. We need to get a bear box installed up there, where you have to hang your food in a tree, so you don't create like a problem with nuisance bears in the neighborhood. But during the field season, a couple other things going on with the Appalachian Trail. We partner with the Green Mountain Club. They're going to relocate the Appalachian Trail just at the Pownell line where it hits Massachusetts, because it's on private land, so it doesn't really offer much protection permanently for that trail corridor. So they're going to move it on to the National Forest to provide that permanent protection. And then Green Mountain Club's also going to have a trail crew working in Stamford from about that area up to Risky Ranch. It's just over time, the traffic, we see about 15,000 through hikers on that trail each year. So it's just washed out and muddy, needs some attention. So I'll switch gears to ATV and off-highway vehicle management. So we've got 2 trails in town, the Sucker Pond Trail and then the Risky Ranch Trail. So over the past few years, in partnership with the Stamford Ridge Riders, we've cleaned up the Risky Ranch Trail, that party spot, the Sippy Hole it's referred to. I was just out there this past week. There's still some tire burning going on, but the big pit with all the fire pit with the furniture has been pretty cleaned up. The club helped block off some of the wetlands and area around it that were getting torn up with some logs and rock barriers. And the club also worked on a section of County Road leading down from the power line to the intersection. So I feel like it's looking better. We've had some law enforcement presence last year. Patrols will continue this year a little bit as well. The Sucker Pond Trail itself is now closed for summer OHV use for a few reasons, but it's still open for snowmobile use. We just installed a gate last fall at the County Road intersection. It did get damaged from the back. When the gate was closed, it got rammed, bent, broke the pin off. So we just repaired it and closed it since snowmobile season ended, but we're still trying to work with the clubs on the Bennington side to get support from the town. So basically when the Sucker Pond Trail runs north, it hits a right-of-way that is, the town of Bennington has those water rights and all those camps, so they can access from the Woodford side, all those camp owners. But multiple times when we've gone to talk to the town of Bennington, they say there's a lot of issues and they would prefer just to keep it permission only to the camp owners at the moment. So until they're willing to open it to all public use or have it on like the VASA network, we basically need both towns on each end to kind of support it in order to open it up to the general public. Then we would improve the tread, which would be a lot of rock work. There is one wetland relocation that still needs to happen. We had some different folks look at it. There was a potential grant from the state. It's the Recreation Trail Program grant. They have a clause that basically the trail can't be located in a wetland. So that one section needs about a 1,200-foot relocation. So there's a lot of money that we don't have to invest in the trail. We have a little bit of money from Bronco Wild. A couple years ago, we had some funding from Polaris. And we've invested all of that into the Stagecoach Trail. Stamford Ridge Riders have done a lot of volunteer work. VASA had their excavator out there resurfacing it. So ideally, we would like, if we could get basically the towns to support it on both ends, and we can comply with our forest management plan that says our trails have to connect basically multi-town summer motorized trail system, or not have a trail termini on our land. So basically right now, if you can't drive on County Road as part of a VASA network, then that basically would be like a dead-end trail. You'd have to turn back if you're not a resident of Stamford. I believe you guys have it only open to Stamford right now, like the Klondike County Road.
No.
No?
That changed.
Yeah.
So it's open, is it on the VASA network now?
We were kind of waiting until we got 301 before we went back on it. We're still working
Okay,
very close with law enforcement because there's still a lot of,
yeah.
we call them cowboys or
Sure.
whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
So hopefully our patrols can help with that, but basically we would like to address these few issues on, or complying with our forest management plan, having the support on the other end, and then investing in the tread and blocking off a lot of like the muddy routes along it. Along the Stagecoach Trail, seems like it's respected, folks stay on the route. They don't bash into the vast gates and go up on the snowmobile network in the summer
It's a little
months.
more patrolled up in that area.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking for down here.
Well, we were going to talk, what happened to that meeting on the 10th of April you guys were supposed to have? The round table?
Oh, there was a
The
force.
all the user groups were supposed to sit down and talk about a lot of this stuff.
They got canceled.
It got
Yeah,
canceled.
that was like a forest-wide meeting, yeah, due to all the, issues currently with
That was
the
supposed to be
federal
last,
government.
yeah, last week.
We decided to cancel it,
I know.
our forest supervisor decided to cancel it, yeah, so we'll just have to work through it individually. Yeah.
So we're making a lot of progress in that general area. VASA's gonna be back out. We have $40,000 this summer through the Bronco Wild funding, and then we have $15,000 from the Forest Service to keep investing in this OHV system. But we really need to convince the northern town to basically open it to folks besides just the
Well, we
camp.
just worked with the town of Woodsford. We have some paperwork. I don't know if they got given to you yet. That was another thing we were gonna talk about last week at that meeting.
So the town of Woodford has it as a town road all the way up to that Bennington right of way. So with that, we don't really get into like a legal battle over the authority of that. They have no gate. We just installed a new gate after the last camp access. So now Sucker Pond on the National Forest outside of the Woodford Town Road and outside of the right of way for the access camps is gated because it's not snowmobile
It's
season.
down past the old peak camp, right?
Yeah, so we'll see how those gates hold up, but, you know, long story short, we have to have a lot more funding to kind of improve that and get it around this wetland area. And to meet, you know, the state grant requirements, they don't want to see it running through that wet of an area. So in order to get the funding, we have to kind of comply with some of the
We're
wetlands.
still waiting, federally funded that RTP program. I don't know if they even did that yet. Because they're
Yeah.
waiting for the Senate to sign off or something on it.
That's a lot of the funding we were supposed to get for trail bridges, like snowmobile bridges didn't come through this year, so VAST is kind of waiting for us. We have funding from past agreements, and some of our invoices are getting paid, but any new money we're expecting this year is now paused.
I know they don't know what's going on.
So, anyways, I feel like we've made a lot of good progress down there, and Risky Ranch is looking a lot better. And we do have a new law enforcement officer, Jeff. We have a new patrol captain, Chris Denton. We
I
have
haven't
another-
met them yet.
So, we've been cleaning up the Rose Barn, just like the Risky Ranch at the other end, which is complaints about partying, late night ATVs going back into Bennington on Burgess Road. So, as we have this law enforcement presence and a few resources, I mean, $40,000 isn't enough, but it's a start. So, I feel like we're finally getting a little bit of progress towards getting that back open. So, I'd be happy to meet outside of like a big stakeholder meeting with Woodford, with VASA, with Bennington. I know Mike Smith was a big proponent trying to get that access. I know he was trying to convince the town of Bennington, but every time we called, they're like, let's just keep it for camp owners for now, and they're kind of nervous with, even though there is no enforcement of that, and let's be honest.
They don't really want to even go up there because, I mean, it's more than just ATVs. You have Jeeps and trucks. And
Yeah, I mean, I barely got out there to close the gate.
I don't know. They wanted to go up there with multiple agencies, but it's, you know.
Well, let's set something up outside of this.
Yeah.
Because I
We'll be,
feel like,
we'll be talking to you guys, because they're gonna be coming down to do, there's a small section up on Stagecoach from Ryder Clear, or the old Ryder Farm,
Mhm.
out to the Stone Bridge. They're
Okay.
gonna finish that up.
Yeah. So, you know, in a nutshell, if we can manage it and have partners that'll help us manage it and have enforce and respect staying on the trail, then I feel like we can get this back onto our system. That was our general intention with that South Route 9 proposal, was to have that open with Stagecoach. And, that trail and road was always there on Sucker Pond, and when we picked it up from the Trust for Public Land, we didn't really have the capacity to manage it, and we just let it go, and then it got to the point where it's pretty bad.
Resource damage is nasty up there.
Yeah, so if we could reel that in and have enough funding to address it, then I think we could get it back on our system. I'd like to see it back open, but we just need to meet those objectives that are already in our forest
And the
plan.
law enforcement keeps on talking, it'd be easier for them to patrol, just instead of driving all the way down here with the trailers and the wheelers to unload down here, just to unload in one place up, like it would for just drive around.
Mhm. Yeah, during the winter, I came out on a snowmobile. I parked at Prospect Mountain, came over Stagecoach, and then there isn't a trail bridge on a stream. I think it's the Stamford stream. It's about halfway down, or no, it's actually Roaring Brook. But either way, without a bridge on that, it wasn't that great.
On Stamford Stream, where you have to go up to Prospect Timbers, go over the Kelly Bridge and that little 391 loop to get on Stamford Stream.
But what I noticed, instead of like snowmobile tracks, there was a lot of UTV tracks all winter long out there. So it's, it doesn't help
No.
the snowmobiles when the razors are tearing it up. But anyways, I appreciate having a partner like Stamford Bridge Riders, and without them, I don't think we would have gotten the ground we've gotten over at Risky Ranch. So just like to try to keep that partnership going. So thanks for having a little bit of time for us today.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they could call you if they
Oh,
have
yeah,
any
they know how to
questions.
reach us, yeah.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Did they say that the logging is done between Camp Casino and Roaring Brook?
No, we need a little bit or something.
On Cardinal Brook, that's it?
Pretty cool. Yeah. Very neat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Nice meeting you.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Yep, see you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Any other visitors before we move on with the meeting? Yes, ma'am.
Once again, would like to just remind everyone of two excellent town events. On May 3rd, the first Saturday in May, is Green Up Day, which is a statewide program. It's from 8:30 to 11:30. Come to the school, get a donut, get some gloves, get a bag, and pick up trash on your street or someone else's. And then on May 10th is our second annual Resiliency Fair. It's here in the auditorium from 10 till 2. A number of speakers on resiliency efforts and ideas, as well as folks who are local vendors of locally produced goods. Plus, we're going to have a community lunch and a band.
Is the band going to be there all day playing, or?
Probably starting at lunch, which will probably be around 1-ish.
Mhm.
And it's Dan Hawkins
Right.
and his band. They're really good.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll dance. I did at Reedsboro. Yeah. Yes, they're amazing. Thank you.
Any other visitors? Dave?
It looks like we can have a discussion on the planning commission bylaw change, or not? I just was reading.
We're going to get to that.
Okay, so I'll say that for them. I received a call from somebody asking me about what's going on in the center of town, and if a permit has been put in place for the renovation of the church. I guess something's been knocked down. I don't really know, so I should ask the AO officer. Has anybody filed a permit?
To knock down a slab? Or knock down for the
They've
slab?
they've touched stuff in the church.
Well,
They've
we
ripped
don't
off
have
the
any-
front,
Dave, we don't have anything for inside.
Doesn't
We don't have
matter.
permits for
If you-
inside.
No. Any demolition to a building inside or outside, needs a permit because,
Not for demolition.
Not for inside, Dave.
well, let me tell you where, I'm sorry, I've gone through this before.
Not for inside, but the church on that side, well, it's got a steeple permit was required for the
Because of lead and asbestos, anything before 1978 where you start to do renovation, especially on commercial property or church, it needs a permit from the state of Vermont. So if there's lead and they've knocked anything on the outside with lead, it could contaminate the air, the children at the school, the state requires a permit. And now I know we've knocked down houses in this town before without it, but we should have had the permit. It was illegal. And I have the
You have to take that
information
up.
here, you can call these people if you want. At the state, and I just,
Are we sure they didn't get a permit from the state?
the AO should have been informed first.
Yeah, nobody informed me. I didn't need it.
I mean, you're our main,
There was
right, you're our main
absent
contact.
a building or a,
Garage.
was it the garage? Okay,
Sure, it wasn't insulated.
yeah.
And it kind of leaked a lot.
Well, it's just that
It was already.
if we don't take hold of this and people just start knocking and burning stuff and, come on.
Well, do we have in our zoning bylaws anything that says demolition or
Via
removing?
state permit.
It's a state permit,
It's not a road.
but the AO generally would
No.
say, hey, you're in violation, and, yeah. But, it looks like I left it home. I do have the permit, oh, here it is. Here you go. Not gonna create havoc for anybody, when you get the calls, and if you don't do anything, everybody, so, here's what's required for any renovation and demolition of any building, before 1978.
Controls. So I'm hoping it's
Well,
whoever's doing the demolition, the
the-
contractors would do
yeah, but the
this.
town is the first line of defense, because we're the ones breathing the pollutants of asbestos and lead going
Well,
into the
then we
air.
should talk about the Mill Road building
What about it?
that burned and it's just infested with everything, same thing.
It's not knocked down though.
No,
Okay, well,
This is anytime demolition takes place, you have to have a state
hopefully
permit.
the contractor is following the asbestos, if there is some there. Lead paint, if there is some there, we don't know.
They just say it doesn't matter. You have to bring down a Vermont asbestos.
It's not our responsibility, it's the
not.
contractor or the owner. And we have no right to enforce.
We do have a right
the
to town, it is the town's responsibility.
I believe there was an inspection report, 75-page inspection report that the owners probably have now. The town had it, and I'm sure the owners got a copy of it.
Yeah. It's just
And
like
I
the
know that-
sign. I mean, the
I know
state,
they were thorough when they
the
did
state
this.
rules. It's great that we have bylaws in this town. You can't override the state. The state says, and I don't know, how would be fine for this? I mean, I can dig a little bit.
If you want to put this to bed right now, I'll check into it.
Thank you.
Call the state.
Yeah, well, call Stephanie first and find out who her contractor is, yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Any other visitors? Questions? Reading and approval of records and orders. We signed all the orders. Could I have motions to accept the minutes of March 27th and April 3rd? I think we were all here.
I was not here for the 27th, motion for the 3rd.
Motion for the 27th.
Second.
All in favor? And April 3rd.
Motion for the 3rd.
Motion, second.
All in favor? Yes. Thank you.
Whatever it is. Put me down for something.
Dave, road conditions.
We started our spring road grading this week. Hopefully the snow's not gonna happen anymore. dealing with that, I guess, in the last couple of weeks too, so. Yeah, we've done, on Monday we did some, we did like some there, and today we did Jefferson Road. So I'm gonna continue over on that side of town, and then we'll probably move to the Mill County Road section, and then we'll head north and then finish up with the class 4, but I mean, it takes weeks for us to get that done. And the weather's not cooperating for that, we'll be doing some ditching on East Road, trying to prep that road for the chip sealing project this summer. That's what we'll be doing. All our equipment's in service now, so we just got our van back today,
How much?
7,200.
And that's the one you're thinking of trading next year, right?
Yeah, well, it takes 2 years now to get a truck, and that one's already 5 years old, so. And it's starting to get to the point where the reliability factor, and then, you know, it's not gonna be worth anything.
It's going to be paid this June, right?
I believe so.
So maybe we should start looking into it. Instead of waiting until next year, just start looking into it now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have prices for, you know, March, so the town can approve that.
Okay.
I guess that's our next step. I also am gonna be working on it this fall, coming up with a project for the chip sealing it's the every 5-year project that we do, and get prices on maybe paving some of the other, you know, higher maintenance sections of road. And I believe it's time. It's time we need to really consider some of that.
Any questions for me? Recycling?
I don't know, I think our summer hours start here pretty quick. We're open on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
That's Wednesday and April.
Yeah.
Yay. But with the snow, it's, I have a couple of things on recycling. I attended the Alliance meeting yesterday. We talked about the SWIP plan that 2 representatives from VCRC are willing to come down, talk to us about the SWIP plan that we are required to update every 5 years. And we have to submit that to the state by the end of June. And the household hazardous waste facility in Bennington will be open on May 19th. You go on to the VCR website and you can pick a date and time that you would like to bring your hazardous materials to Bennington. And that's all I have. Unless somebody from the board would like to be the town rep to the Alliance. Kurt, don't look away. Maybe we should nominate Mike, he's not here.
There you go.
That's the way.
Well, think about it, it's only online, it's only 1 hour every 3 months, so. And we hire BCRC to do all the legwork, because there's no way we could do a 75-page SWIP plan that the state requires. Dave?
If I could just go back to road conditions really quick. I've also been working with Jim Henderson a little bit. He's gonna come down next Tuesday, and we're gonna come up with our project for the grant and aid. And I've talked to him some about the Suzanne Drive intersection. For some reason, he's not too thrilled about that for that grant, but he said possibly a Better Back Roads grant. But he's also talking about working on Sportsman's Road. There's some undersized culverts as far as the hydronically connected road segments go, so we may end up doing that. We may end up there anyways. I did get a price for 50 feet of the culvert we will need for the Suzanne Drive intersection, and the price of the culvert is $5,500, just the culvert. They suggested a concrete head wall. I haven't got a price on that yet. But so I am trying to make some progress there.
Okay. Thank you.
But it's on the local level, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, discussion, proposed bylaw public hearing.
You got a hand up over here.
Oh, you're hiding.
I am. Can you find out what we want to do about, Walton County, Brownwood County? There's rocks sticking up like that in the middle of the road, because the gravel, there's no one on the gravel, so I don't know, want to figure it out. The culvert, the metal culvert is sticking up, and halfway to the road there. I don't know, hold on. There's a lot of metal products there.
Can you take a look at it down?
Yeah, I mean, I went up there the other day. I mean, it's a class 4 road,
Yeah.
so the priority level isn't as high. I'm not gonna disagree with them use gravel. Most of our class 4 roads definitely need gravel. I think when I grade it here this spring, it will improve. But, you know, like I said, it's a class 4 road, and most of our budget is just, mud season just takes it all, so.
Well, if you would check it out.
Those rocks, no.
Yeah, just check it out.
We'd have to add.
Is there, you're not working on the house at all up there, right?
Not yet.
Dave?
During in regards to roads, during the last selectmen's meeting, I heard somebody talking about doing work on Alpenwald's roads. And the thing that I'm confused about is that Alpenwald is a private entity. The town of Stamford shouldn't be involved in any of that.
Yeah, it's not work on, the town's not gonna work on Alpenwald's roads. There's a culvert at the intersection, which is a town culvert between, they cross the sportsman's.
Okay.
And the water runs along Suzanne Drive, and the culvert hasn't failed, but in flooding events, the water overtops the road and it runs down and causes the residents.
I noticed
You know,
looking
some
back
issues,
in the
so.
town stuff that the town was plowing. John Tatro had a list of the times that he plowed Alpenwald. And of course, that was before
Not
me.
the 25 years I've lived there.
No.
I have the list from 2000.
What roads was he plowing in Elkinwall?
He's got them listed. Now, there's 20 of them. I said, why is he plowing these roads?
Well, we don't do that anymore. If he did, but.
No, I'm just
We don't
saying,
do that
I was
anymore.
confused, you know, I'm just
Okay,
trying to
Yeah, there's
solve
definitely
stuff.
no town work being, we're not.
no.
No, I'm not saying that, I was just wondering when I heard the discussions, I said, that's a private, you know, that's one thing we were never gonna take on, is the roads and all along.
Yeah, that's, private roads are definitely becoming more and more of an issue. And
Oh, yeah, we got plenty of them. Nichols. I can
at
go
some
on.
point, I think, you know, you'll see the state get involved more and more with that.
I agree.
Okay, moving on, proposed bylaw public hearing. So, the planning commission presented us with the proposed bylaws. Most of the, well, all of the changes were for the sign. We all had the opportunity to read over those sections. So if there was any updates to the sign section or anything you wanted to talk to the planning commission about, if we have any changes, that we would send it back to the planning commission, or go ahead and set a public hearing for the bylaws. Nothing on? Okay.
I thought that was good.
Okay. I think they are very detailed. Hopefully, we covered everything on the sign, so that we will set a date for the public hearing. Dave?
I emailed some information to you that I received from the state.
Yep.
I don't know if you had the time to read it, but
No.
it isolated the reasons that we can't put a sign out there. I just want to make it clear, I have nothing in this either way. I don't care if there's a billboard put out there, but what I do care about is us going through the process of changing the bylaws, only to have it rescinded by the state. I did get in contact with John Kessler, who heads up the travel council. He's a lawyer and controls all signage on scenic highways. And what he's offered to do is he will get a hold of Ian DeGaddis, who's the head civil engineer for the state of Vermont for the scenic highway. He'll get back with us on the information of what we're trying to do so that we're making sure we're doing it right. Because there is a conflict. He knows, he says, signs are prohibited.
If he can have it for our public hearing, it would be great.
Yeah, oh, I've got it, so it'll get in contact with me, but to you. So, once that's done and we have the state sign off on this, we're good to go. So whatever we have and they say good, but he's already questioned me things that I couldn't answer. So I said, I sent them the information of what we've done, and I just said, could you please check this to make sure so we're not going another 2 years on this. And I sent it to the planning commission too, everybody got it.
We haven't discussed the date, but we should look at this. Lori, what is the lead time on this? We've got to give you enough time to publish, 30, 60 days,
Yeah, if you would think about June,
sometime in June.
that should give us some, yeah.
Do you want to pick a date now so we can say we set the date instead of waiting 2 more weeks?
Do you want to try and do it before a regular meeting, like the first and third, or you want to do it on an off Thursday?
No,
What's it say?
you know that even applies anymore.
I think probably an off Thursday. I mean, at the planning commission, there was hardly anyone there for your public hearing, right? There might be more, and then if we have to go into the select board meeting, it's gonna make it a longer meeting for us.
So, June 12th or June 26th?
Second or fourth.
12 or 26th?
I won't be here June 12th.
Maybe we should have a flag, maybe, just hanging up out there, because there's no problems. We just put a flag up there, Stamford School.
So 26, you're thinking?
I have a letter from TLCT where.
Put it up.
And they referred me to.
So our off night is,
USC.
See if anyone from the state comes down there as well.
oh, I don't know, what do you think? June 12th or 26th? Oh, okay, wait a minute.
Not worried.
Who's correct?
June 12th?
Can you do 12?
I can do 12. I'm
Can you do 12?
the wrong one.
Well,
June 12th?
You want the same 6 o'clock?
Yep.
Maybe buzzers like to hold a sign up there and wait. Like the hot dog guys.
Do you want to reserve the gym just in case? Think we will have an overflow of people in here?
just put the signs on and get lawn space.
What's that?
Just expensive time.
You can stand outside.
I think you've already done it on Thursday night, the select board runs over. It used to be a Thursday night.
Maybe it's 5:30.
I don't think you're gonna get that.
No, you're wrong. I don't think I don't think so either. Let's go June 12th, 6 PM, and we'll snuggle in. Yep.
Yep, if there are any, I know the planning commission is talking about, not necessarily revisions to the bylaws, but clarifying the language in it. If that can come before you, before this, can it be included?
No, because you have to go through your process of meeting, public meeting. Oh, I think it'd be too confusing if you had your public hearing first and clearing up. That's my.
What does the next bylaws do?
Well, I mean, how many years did we talk about the challenges with the bylaws? And nothing has ever really happened.
Well, we're looking at
Yeah, we have your changes to the one. We have the old changes. What we're
It must go over.
Yeah, that's thrown away. Yeah, we're fine.
I mean, it's really, talked about it for a couple of years, still,
And then we'll go through the village district and the modernization grant and all that nonsense.
that expires too at some point, I'm not sure, the village.
The village
Oh, that
district.
already.
Yeah,
I
the
think that-
designation expires at some point, I don't know. if it is.
That's what I was told.
Well, didn't we,
Well,
aren't we
no,
designated now?
we are designated.
We are to a certain point, and then you have to
We
choose.
are, but we didn't go that extra, that's why we had to pay the
That's why we had to pay.
$4,000. Yeah.
They only told us we had to change the date.
They did.
They did.
Yeah,
They did tell us.
yeah, I heard them.
Come on.
I was here.
We just, we let it go. It was.
Because when we go forward with the bylaws, when we're wanting to reference certain bylaws, we could refer to the village center. But even if you change, even if we have that designation or not, we can still refer to it as the village center.
Right? Nobody's utilizing it at this point.
And that is, the state determines what goes in the village center.
Right. Well, yeah.
They have
What it
the,
does is it will allow us to vary our bylaws, like for road frontage and acreage, I don't know.
Mostly what it does is, it's mostly for beneficial to nonprofit organizations
Yeah.
that are, it's to maintain the visual aesthetics of old villages and town without demoing all the houses and turning them into
Right.
something else. Basically, kind of like certain parts of Bennington is, where you see a dentist's office, just an old Victorian house or something. That's kind of the idea behind it all. But, there's just not enough nonprofits here to really utilize it in any type of way. I've mentioned it several times to the school. I mean, I think there's money that the school could utilize from it, but they don't ever seem to take advantage of it. Well, I'm not sure if it's even, what the state really wants you to do is create the whole neighborhood district that encircles the village center district, and then you can get development. You know, within a certain radius from the center, wherever, I forget the numbers.
I think you said the rules.
So you got,
Into your.
yeah, you got the village center, and then there's a neighborhood development area, which is a bigger area around that.
It allows you to change the bylaw specifically for that section.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but to keep the, not pay the money, all we had to do was change one thing.
The date, right?
It could have been as simple as a date, or we could have said whatever.
You could have said like
Acre,
100
acre in the village, which
Which
was
they all are
nothing
anyway.
because they all are an acre anyway. Well, mostly. There's a few that, it's not much room, it's not much
I will
room.
say this, that the planning commission spent hours and days, we've done our due diligence on writing the bylaws. And we have contacted the LCT, we have contacted the Bennington Planning, everybody. We have contacted every person that has any way, shape, or form official to sign on that line.
And we had Jimmy Brady on guys write them all.
for the sign
The
section.
sign
Yes,
section and
yes.
information,
Yeah.
and what we have is legitimate. And most of the stuff we're referring to on the argumentative side is billboards. It started all there, so.
I disagree with that, but you can read the information that I sent you where it clearly delineates what signs we're talking about. It's just not billboards. And for us, we have the person that heads up the state and from engineering and from a lawyer who's gonna tell us what we can do and what we can't do. So if the work we've done, that Jim has done, the subcommittee is correct, then we can move forward, he'll say. If it's not correct, he's gonna tell us. So what's wrong with that?
We'll wait and see what happens at the meeting, okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Ethics Commission update. Doug, you had, Laurie gave us one of the revisions.
The conflict of interest, ethical conduct policy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the conflict of interest, that's the one we agreed last week. Yes, yeah, we agreed on that. We have to sign it tonight, though.
I will.
Is it ready? Because we already had couple
We
of,
get through.
Wait a minute, Cheryl, back.
I know, I beg your
Hang on a minute. I am sorry.
Yeah, take your time. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We're so organized. Something about three
But it's like,
towns,
Sign's a big issue.
employees of the municipality and anyone acting in an official capacity representing the town. That's what we asked for last time.
Did you see it in there?
Yep.
do we even have a sign up for that?
E, public body. Public body is board of we put it over the wording, thank you, we put the wording over under Article 3. Because I didn't
Wrong
think,
place?
no, I think we wanted it in both places or just one place? An employee. I can't remember. I can't read anyway. Something policy, I guess. Think we're good?
Employees and anyone else representing the town in official capacity.
Oh, yeah,
You
because,
go to the.
Do we want it over in E also? I'm not sure.
Yes, because
Everybody needs a board consultation committee of any board, council, commission, committee of the municipality. I thought we wanted it there too. Under E. Public body, public body. No, I think we're good. This is public body. Because we've got it over here. Anyone acting
yeah,
applies to everyone, all right.
yeah,
I'm
it's
good.
basically so that anybody that's in the process of representing the town.
Fine. Could I have a copy of this signed one after?
Sunday.
Yep. Done. Now, that one will take effect, or does that have to be published? No, that takes effect right away, because it's policy.
I travel Route 100.
Yeah. I was saying the other day about it.
All right. Now we can go on to the Ethics Commission update.
That means every sign in the state is in violation.
Okay. Can we talk about the Ethics Commission update? Doug, you had a couple of things there.
Well, this was on that Code of Ethics investigation enforcement ordinance.
Yep.
And I think for the most part, it's pretty good, but there was a couple things that I was a little concerned with the wording. Now, let's see,
Oh, you made a lot of notes.
well, it looks worse than it is, I get to it.
Where are you?
Okay, if you go on to the second page, section 4 complaints. And let's see. One thing, and we already have it, I guess, but I just want to emphasize it, is that, so there's no misunderstanding. Anybody that's got a complaint, you start out by using the forms that are designated. Again, this is not something, oh, well, I'm gonna take it to the selectmen, or I'm gonna bring it to Lori or something. That is the way it starts, without exception. Okay?
Goes
and I
to the
think
state
that needs to
first.
be- Yeah,
Yep.
goes to the state.
Yeah.
It says something here, all municipal ethics complaints that are received from the state for investigation must be directed to the designated complaint recipient. Well, again, this comes back to the liaison, which I have been, and I don't see why we need a designated complaint recipient. The liaison is supposed to be the bridge for everything coming from the town, the ethics commission, or coming back the other way. So I think we ought to leave it at that. I don't see what the difference is, why they have a designated, yeah.
Lori?
Do you think if we added a definition of liaison and said it would, the liaison between the town and the commission, and would be the one to
Yes.
receive the complaint?
Right,
And then
Yes.
that would-
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Or we can just change the title here and say liaison.
Yeah.
either one.
Yeah.
I keep designated complaint recipient, and like you said the first time with the liaison, is the liaison?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I think you could do it either way, just, yeah, liaison,
I'm not sure
just-
where you were.
Doug, by any chance, have you read ordinances from other towns and stuff on that?
I looked up a couple, actually, back when we were doing the research. I did look up, I think it was Middlebury, and then there was a small town that only had something like 300 people. in it.
Yeah, we've got,
So I did look through some others.
and we use the template from VLCT.
Right, okay. I was just reading, what's the name of the town, can't think, it was a pretty good sized town, but they don't even go to the state. Their ordinance says that they have to file a complaint, and the complaint goes to the town manager or the select board, unless it's part of that problem. If that's a problem, then it goes to this other person, and they've designated, but never once did they mention the state. I don't know if that's an old ordinance, but. it was-
Okay, here's my feeling on this. We can do, they give us a template, but we can do pretty much whatever we want. And like the Middlebury thing, for example, a lot of those things didn't apply to us because Middlebury is a lot bigger town.
Hmm.
And the selectmen or the select board has the right to set this up. And I think this is the way. What I'm trying to do is cut out as many middlemen, have it straight, understandable, comprehensive, okay? So I guess what I'm saying is this, I think, is more appropriate for Stamford. And if we get into this, well, who do we send it to, I think everybody remembers my feelings on this. Okay, why beat a dead horse? Make it simple. If we find there's a problem, we can tweak it later on. But for right now, let's get it done, keep it simple, and we'll go from there.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Let's see, where's the other thing? Now, I notice here, it says designated complaint recipient or liaison, whatever you want to call it, along with two others selected by the select board from the ethics investigation pool on a case-by-case basis. Now, I'm wondering why we need 3 people to do that. And the other thing is that we're talking from the pool. I agree, I think Bill Levine had a great idea of having a pool of people to pick from. But I think something I want to emphasize, that pool is to give us some people that have expressed an interest, and that's who we can pick from. But I think we have to, what I would like to see is that number one, I don't think the pool should be just for ethics complaint. I think we ought to have a pool of people that, if you want to investigate the ethics, since we have other investigations come up through that too, not restricted just to this. And then the other thing, I'm trying to think of the proper wording for it here, but the selectmen ultimately, and I've seen this in law, the selectmen can pick anybody they want at any time to investigate something. And I don't want there to be any misunderstanding that if for some reason the select board decides to take somebody else, they're not, somebody come out and say, well, why don't you take it from the pool? You're violating your own rules. I think I want that to be understood, whether we have to put it in here or not, that the select board is not surrendering its right to pick somebody.
Oh, that we would, you're
Yeah.
saying that we don't have to take it from the pool?
Yeah, realistically, we're going to. I mean, realistically, we're gonna, these folks came forward, said we're interested in doing it.
But if somebody makes a complaint against Jim, Jeb, and Peter, we're certainly not gonna take them to investigate.
Right.
That's
So-
another consideration.
So we would
All of it.
just find somebody else to invest, yeah,
Mhm.
I think we would do that.
But I think I want to clear, I'm sorry, go ahead,
Yep.
finish what you're saying.
What you mentioned about the 3, I think we need 3, an odd number.
Yes.
We don't want one person investigating, or 2 would agree, and I think we need 3.
Well, this was the other point I want to make.
investigations should be fact-finding. You're collecting. The decision comes back to the board.
Correct.
This isn't something where, okay, we got a couple of people investigating, we're gonna sit down and this is the decision we came to. No, we need the facts, and then when the facts come, the board makes the decision.
Right.
So that's why I'm not sure that we need three. You know, it's not something that everybody has to sit down and make a decision on, collect the facts.
Right, that's all they're doing.
I just, my thought too is the three, not everybody likes everybody, so that makes it kind of like more neutral people.
Well, maybe somebody wants to talk to you, but not to Jim.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is not a criminal
I
investigation.
agree with that, I know.
Because when we do a criminal investigation,
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, that's my
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
And I'm gonna send my facts and my findings to the
Yeah.
prosecutors who
Yeah.
are sitting there with a team
Yeah,
to decide what the charges are gonna be,
yeah.
right? So,
But you're talking something else. Like you said, you're talking criminal investigation.
I'm talking an investigation, period.
Okay. I guess where I'm taking some of my stuff from, when I was with corrections, I did pre-sentence investigations for the court,
Mhm.
and they used that, basically I wrote biographies of the person, the suspect or whatever, and gave it to the judge, and he made the decision. I didn't make any decisions. I got the information and I sent it to the deciding person. And what you said about not everybody likes everybody, I see your point, but on the other hand, what if you got three people that don't like one person? You know, you can go nuts trying to.
That's the important part about choosing an ethics team or an ethics committee. The important part is that you pick people that you know or the board knows has an ethical background of some sort, that has proven themselves to be supportive to everybody and reach out to everybody and able to communicate with other people.
But what I'm hearing now, you're saying an ethics commission or an ethics board, so instead of being investigators, now you're gonna be decisive, you know.
No, that's all the same thing, Doug. I'm just saying that an ethics board, you're an investigator. So in a sense, what you've done is created an ethic board, basically, because it's you and a fellow investigator.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think ultimately the board that makes the decision is the select board.
Right.
Now, I'm just expressing my things. You can vote it down, again, we can come back, well, what about this, or what about this? I'm trying to keep it simple, and I feel that the select board should not surrender its decision-making to another board, nor do I think we need to have another element added to this. That's my feeling.
No, I don't think so either. I think we're okay with how it is.
Yeah.
So we could add maybe the select board reserves the right to choose any investigator, whether from the pool or outside of the pool.
Yeah,
On a case
that's what I like to see. Realistically, we're gonna be using the pool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I'm talking, these are gonna be exceptional circumstances.
Right.
But this is the big thing with me, I don't want to, I would just say, give up our responsibilities there. I think this is the final decision, should remain with the board. And that the investigators be investigators and give us the information.
Here's the thing, like I was saying before, if the investigator does not give us all the facts or doesn't like the person or whatever, we're still going to get the person that he investigated to sit in front of us and give us the facts too, even though the investigator gave us his facts.
Right.
And the guilty alleged person.
I was bring the guilty gas.
I'm never gonna serve on a jury. But, we would still hear the facts from the alleged person.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, you're right, you have to give them a chance.
Yeah,
I think that's already included.
Okay, yeah.
Can I just ask, Doug, what circumstance would you not want to take from the pool? Like what, I'm trying to picture now.
Well, like we said, if we come up with a situation where there would be a conflict of interest, you know, for, say, the people that are on the pool. If we have a bigger pool, then that'll be less likely.
Yeah, that's,
I
I'd
think-
say
but-
bigger pool sounds
But, yeah, no, I'm not opposed to a bigger pool. But I think the big thing, again, I want to emphasize it, is that the pool is investigative, it's not decision.
Right.
And then we're not, basically, we're not bound, you know, if somebody on the pool says, well, I think we should take this person out and hang them in the front. No, we're not gonna be
We're not
nailed to
that.
that.
All right, so it just feels like if you're, you have a good sized pool and then you don't pick from that pool and you just say, I'm gonna pick Kurt. It's like, why are you picking Kurt? Like that might.
Well,
Yeah,
if the
because we're
situation comes up, and see, this is what I'm saying, I don't wanna get us locked into that, where if for some reason we take from the pool, then we're gonna get accused of going against the policy, or you're doing it because you favor this person.
I know, but do you see what I mean? Like if you have a pool and
Yeah.
you say, I don't wanna pick from the pool, I wanna pick Mike Denal, like people might say, why are you leaning towards Mike Denal? He's not even part of it, that might look slanted to me, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
But
that's
if it-
something, I'm sorry, go ahead. No,
Go
go
ahead.
I've been talking too much, go ahead.
No, but what if the complaint is against you and Jeb's in the
Oh,
pool?
right.
And we don't want Jeb, or
Yeah.
even
Well, that's
gets.
clearly a conflict.
Yeah.
Right, that's.
So we would have,
That's why there's enough people.
we're
in the
hoping there'd be
pool
enough there.
For some common sense.
So the recourse, if what we're all talking about is crazy anyways, but, because at the end result, if I don't like the results of what happens, I just call state, right? So that's the option. It goes to the state, if there's a violation, it comes back to them. They pick a person to go investigate it. If they don't like it, or if they do something that you don't like because this is not the American way or whatever, you have a recourse to go back to the state.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, wait, the recourse is in there, it can go up to and including going to court.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
state board, and I spoke with the director there, Christine, just a couple weeks ago. And a big thing with them, they are advisory. They are not gonna make a decision for us. They're gonna say, use their expertise and give us their best guess on it. And as far as an investigation, they may send, we may not even need an investigation, but there may be circumstances where they're gonna say, well, we'd like to hear what this person has to say. So this is where somebody from the pool would go and interview them. Or, what about this, they may want some records checked. That's all, but I mean, it's not gonna be back and forth. They're gonna give us their recommendations, and if they think they need a little more to give us a recommendation, that's where the investigation comes in, and then ultimately it comes back and it's the decision of the select board.
Laura, you have your hand raised?
Well, I guess my thought is, with us being a small town, it's nice to say we just need a bigger pool, but if people don't volunteer to be in the pool, you might be stuck with the same 2 or 3 people. And, you know, it may work fine, or there may be conflicts within it that make it difficult.
I don't think that the town is bound, to the pool anyways.
Right.
The way I read the
No.
language is they're not bound to any of it.
I'm just trying to clarify
Yeah.
some of this, so that, you know, everybody kind of knows what their job is.
Right.
And,
Well, as we all know, it doesn't matter what you read in the laws, or what Vermont is, other people see it a whole different way.
you know,
All the time.
What else do you have, Doug?
no, actually, I think it was, let's see.
Work with Lori on this?
Sure.
We'll get it right someday.
We are.
But we're not, you know, this is all new to us. We've never had this before.
It's funny, I was saying, actually I told Nancy the other day, I was going through that on the website that shows the current legislation that's being considered, and you've probably all been on that website. They've already got, I think the Senate has already got some kind of a modification they want to do to the ethics committee. So they're not already sure what they want. This is
I
just
don't
kind of
think there's not too
evolving.
many people on board with it right now.
Right, and from what I understand, Nancy, you said that a lot of towns you looked into haven't even gone as far as we did.
No, I haven't seen it on any of their web pages. I asked Reedsboro, just happened to talk to the town clerk. I said, what date is your conflict of interest? And it's old. So, or their ethics, yeah, they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
We're a
the
small town
plan,
and-
I think the newest current, I thought I saw some language about the newest town plan has got language in there.
About the
It's
ethics.
supposed to have it or whatever, I'm not sure. I think it's part of the thing.
Well, I know when I talked to Christine when we first started getting into this a little bit, and I said, like, is anybody gonna come down and check? I mean, what are something? She said, no, we're not even close to that. And she says, even when we get to that point, it's probably gonna be, it's not gonna be one of those, we're gonna come down and the owners of the, well, no, we're gonna come down, you know, we may wanna do this or add this and all. It's not gonna be some kind of a big punitive expedition to the old county. So I mean, it's really not that complicated. Let's just get it together and put it in motion.
Work with Lori on the changes.
Yep.
If you have any changes,
Yep. Any, you guys okay with it, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Sign the transfer station monitor job description. We went through this last meeting and we just need the signatures at the bottom. I could have a copy of that also when it's signed. Thank you.
the other two.
Sign the road commissioner and the highway.
Sign them on.
It's not yet. Around here.
No, I haven't seen him. I usually see him.
There's
Water's too
a,
high.
Why, you wanna call?
there's a website,
Here's a call.
there's a website.
I know, I
Yeah.
get it. I see, what pond is that up there, state forest, across the Woodford.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, is this right?
You'll know they stocked a blue
Red
heron
Mills.
Yeah.
flying around.
It's Red Mills Pond.
Yeah. Something like that, is they stocked, 2,500. That is, they were just trying to get rid of something like that.
They usually don't do the brook until.
Fishing's really good in this area.
Right around
But
there.
if you're calling it dark.
It's mid to late May.
That is the original Bennington who lived across the road.
Oh, they got a new trail, they got a new.
We had, yeah, we have a, you ought to see it.
Did you go over?
Yeah, we got this amazing area.
Sign this one, Doug.
And
Let's just keep going.
we built a berm so that bottom would work.
They stocked them.
And it's all permanent.
Oh, yeah, I know it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we built a berm so the water is diverted back where it used to go, so behind, the other way, so that he can work in that area without getting swamped. He's
Yeah.
getting swamped anyway, but, yeah. We've already run out of stone, we have no coming tomorrow. Wow.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Shaftesbury.
Review employee policy handbook. And I haven't had a chance to go through it.
For us?
We just did it in 2018, but
Huh?
I want to put something in there, abide by all current town policies. So they would refer to the conflict of interest and the ethics policy. Can we just hold off on this till next time? Ran out of time. And review the social service agency policy. That one I did review because it was only one page. And we put that in, not us, select board many years ago because we were getting requests for, can you give us $50 for this organization? And if the board didn't like that organization, it didn't go on. Maybe you remember, right? And so we've got a social service agency policy that you have to get this on the ballot, let the townspeople vote if they want to contribute to this organization. And basically, it's the same thing that if they, once again, we got the template from the LCT. And if they're changing the requested amount, or they don't get their request in by the date that's on here, so many days before publishing the town report, then they have to petition again. That's why the two of them were not on the ballot this year, on the town report this year. They didn't, they changed their amount and they wanted Lori to just put it in, she said no. So we're covering Lori too, that she's not picking and choosing. Was there any problems with this? Keep the same and just, yeah, because it was last done in 2016. In April. Ooh, 7th of April. So can I have a motion to approve it as written?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Sign that. Any other thing under discussion that you feel we need to bring up? Okay. Correspondence, Lori.
We have 2 municipal access way permits.
I can't believe that they're coming in like this.
Now that you don't request them again.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You used to hunt them down and then you said, not no more, and now.
Sheila she'd love to do this. She would be after them. Yep. I go after the haulers. There's only a couple of them. But now the Alliance is sending out notices, so the haulers know that it doesn't just stay here. They've got to report to the state also. One is for Riggs Disler Company. They're the ones that are doing the poles. I don't know if they're putting the poles in, but I know they do the swamp pads.
Yeah, up. They go. No. Okay.
And Structural Wood Corporation. I don't know what they do. Structural wood.
Yeah, we don't get permits from them.
Never heard of it. Thank you very much. Okay. Old business.
Roof trusses, maybe they're building a new house here.
Okay. Anything else under correspondence, Lori?
No.
Old business. I'm requesting website update, Lori, if you can look into that. We need to get some more space.
We do.
In the cloud or wherever we get space from. Because we need to put our recording, Jeb's recording the minutes, and I'm sure people like that, but by law, we have to have this on the website. What did we hear yesterday that from our training, some towns don't have a website, so they're sending it to the newspaper or the TV. Who's editing it?
Oh. Right.
Yeah. But the legislature's working on something like that too.
That's dangerous.
Yep. Okay, old business, we're voting on May 14th. And that is also the day of, school board. And there's a webinar, BCA webinar, 9 to 2:30. It's free, so you could take it at home if you want. It's great.
Board of Civil Authority, so it would be good for Justice of the Peace and Select Board members. And I'll have it running here for anybody who wants to come here and listen, or You can sign up remotely, it's free. You just do it from your home.
But that would be very good for any new
Yeah.
JPs, and I think you sat in last year too.
Yes.
But it's good to hear again.
And while you're on that subject, with the election being May 14th, I would love to have all the justice of the peace and select board members here to count at 7 o'clock.
What time is the meeting?
The vote will go from 10 to 7, it closes at 7 all day. And you'll have the 2 ballots, the town assessor or lister ballot, and then the school's budget ballot. So,
Lori, do you know if the school's gonna present with the count again?
I believe they have to have an informational meeting, I don't know when that is, and we're both doing a mailing to all registered voters to send the warning out to everybody. So, and I don't know if they'll have information included in what they want to send out or not. We'll probably just send a warrant out for our side.
Doug and Mary Lou and I and Lori sat in on a webinar yesterday about the open meeting law and the new changes, Act 133. And the LCT suggested going to the Secretary of State website, and they urged all board chairmen to attend this. Planning Commission, Conservation Commission, Cemetery, Library, School, Board of Abatement, to go to this open meeting law training, whatever it is.
The Secretary of State?
Yeah. It's got about agendas, executive sessions, allowing the public to attend. And
Sounds like they have like a frequently asked questions page and a video that you can just watch.
So, if I may ask a question, doesn't regard too much, but I was told that our little ad hoc committee, subcommittee that we were doing, the 3 of us, was actually a violation of the law.
it should have been published for where you were going to meet. That's the way I understood it, that it should have been in a public place. Did you catch that yesterday? They said something about that subcommittee. You're still bound by the open meeting law.
No more cheese.
No more cheese.
You have to bring.
Well, you can have cheese here.
Right.
I know they used to meet at the public.
Even if you're not a quorum?
That's what I was.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking.
That's why I thought we were safe.
It was not a quorum, because we were on 3.
That's why.
It was, but it was a committee appointed by the planning commission to do this, so a committee of the committee is open to the open
okay.
laws.
And if you're not sure, just advertise, err on the side of caution.
Right, okay. Yeah. And location means a place where the public could have access to as well, right?
My house, you can come to my house.
I know we've had the fire station before. If Lori's here,
Right.
then ask her if this room will be empty.
So, I know this has been an issue in the past, and as vice chair of the planning commission, we have been put in a kind of a situation where no one had a key to open this place up and back. So, like this week, Pete's not around. So we had to contact another person who wouldn't return any emails or comments, but ended up showing up and we were good to go. Is there any way that another member, whether it be Lisa or myself, being vice chair, can get a key and the stuff to open?
Well, I know we have a key policy that we suggest the chairmen of the board, because Lori has only so many keys.
Right.
So perhaps you, Peter, if you knew he was going to be out of town and you're having a meeting, can we have the key?
Yeah, he could read. So you can pass it off to someone?
but should
Yeah,
that,
because he's responsible for it.
Okay.
His signature is on Lori's, key
You have
number.
to sign, and
You have to sign for
assume
it.
the liability of if it gets lost.
So he would still be responsible if she had lost it?
yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
problem.
So that's what I'm saying, it's like, okay, well,
That would work.
I mean,
I probably
have a
doesn't-
key, do I need it?
What's that?
I could give up my key if I needed to. If,
I guess you could do it. Jim,
yeah, I never come here though when the alarm is set. I don't want to be the one to set it up.
everybody's scared of the alarm. I was yesterday too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just confusing because we had run into this once before where there was a planning commission meeting and people
Got
came
canceled 2 hours
and it
before.
got canceled. And so when we were trying to head off the possibility of that, both Pete and Jim were sending an, email around and, we just didn't get a response. So there was a little nervousness about would we show up for the meeting and not be able to get in the building. That was a worry. So,
get the email.
But what I'm hearing is he can give the key to one of us.
yeah,
Yeah,
As long as he trusts us.
yeah.
Yeah,
ours
say-
is huge.
I'm gonna be gone, I'll leave it under my step or between my door or under the flower pot.
Or come get it. Yeah.
Come get it, more likely.
I think that
Email chain,
I
yeah,
just don't think that's a responsible
good.
thing to do, to be honest with you.
no flower pots.
No flower pots.
First place people look.
So the only other thing I have to say is that, we were talking about an ordinance, some ordinances, a right ordinance or something about our continuous and possible in the future food trucks and blah, 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 and everything else. So I took it upon myself to do some research on an ordinance or ordinances involving food trucks, ice cream trucks, anything to help the situation. Because an up and coming problem, might as well nip it in the bud now. So I've been having some conversation with that about this thing too. So whatever makes her job easier and basically allows you guys to have some control over that.
So if we were having some event, like, say the Resiliency Fair, and you wanted to have food trucks outside,
Yeah.
would it have to come before the board, select board, board of health?
So it depends on how you set it up. In this particular, in Morristown, this one that I chose, the AO gives out permits for it. So it's,
So they're registered with the.
right,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
Wilmington also has a similar bylaw or ordinance. And the way they do it is that they're not allowed, if they have a private lot, then they can park on the private lot. And the owner has to get a permit for it. Not the food truck or the ice cream truck, because
They have
they're
a state
holding,
permit.
they're holding, yes, well, the food trucks and stuff have state.
Yeah,
You
they're
can't give a permit unless they have, their state permit. But, this is an issue that we've always, talked about and ran into, so. And this is an ordinance, so it doesn't have anything to do with land. So, but it goes through, it would go through, enforcement agent being the AO or zoning administrator, you know what I mean? So you would just have to place a fee, and you can do temporary. So if you were to have an event here in Stamford, like, a rodeo or,
Rodeo.
concert or anything like that, and you have all these food trucks coming in, it kind of gives us an opportunity to make a little bit of money too. So
Used to be fairs here.
fair, well, that's fair.
Years ago, yeah, they used to be fun.
But I got the ordinance and I was gonna tweak it around and kind of play around with it and give it to Lori and see and have them present it to
I
her.
wonder, would that be covered under the board of health?
Well,
Will the
some
Board of
towns,
Health give the permits, or?
The
I
food
don't
truck
know.
probably should have a state permit.
They would have to.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
so the health officer would be the one to be able to enforce those kind of laws, but it's a state, we don't enforce state, laws, like,
No.
you know, it's like the,
They would be in charge of restaurants or whatever.
right. But, I mean, this comes with a whole application, the whole 9 yards, but you set a fee and
This would just be the permit process, basically, for them to park their truck out here.
so for instance, let's lay it right out there. Lion Farm wants to, I guess, Aaron and those guys are gonna open up the ice cream. This is just word of mouth. I'm not advertising this at all. It's what I'm hearing. And if that is the case, then Stephanie could get a permit to accommodate that. Because it is a mobile food truck, and they have their own state permits, and they can park anywhere they want. Because we don't have any ordinances or any kind of laws that says they can't. And this is not gonna be to where they can't do certain things, but, Wilmington's a little different as far as the way, wouldn't wanna touch that with a 10-foot pole.
I mean, this is a different setup entirely.
Yeah,
have
but they literally have their police throw food
Yeah.
trucks, they've had problems every year.
I mean, I
Food
think
trucks
we should
will
do
come and
everything
throw them out of town.
everything we can do to make these things easier for people to do, not hard.
Mhm.
Shouldn't it be more difficult? We shouldn't be trying to put up walls to stop whatever it is she's
Yeah.
trying to do.
But I mean, in this process, it's probably not gonna raise a bunch of money, but hey, you never know when,
Well, I mean,
It's still a control, it's still
Yeah.
registering, we know
Yeah.
who's here.
we're not trying to make more regulations, we're just trying to protect the homeowner that's living next door or, you know, across
yeah,
the
but like,
street.
how long are they gonna
We
build
have
and how much?
controls over it, so this,
I mean, I think food trucks here at a certain time of day or year could do quite well.
Yeah.
Or down
Yeah.
on Route 8.
yeah, and so like when, like the Polish guy there was doing the
Yeah, the whole
food
room.
truck up on County Road or something, I mean,
Really?
I remember that one.
Went up there for
Mr.
a
Rob.
couple.
That's where he lives up there, but I don't remember.
No, he was-
He wanted to put in he wanted to feed the AT hikers.
right, the hikers and stuff off that place in Trail by the, he wanted to go in, over, he showed me exactly where he wanted to park the truck, and it was right by the hiking lines.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, we ain't bothering nobody here, have at it. Give me some
Do you know if he ever did any business or?
Yeah, I was curious how much business.
Oh.
Do you-
I don't know. I don't know.
Be convenient if one of the hikers come on, there's a food truck in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, you kill
I did
myself.
like going for that kielbasa.
When you could figure
Not
out
gonna like
your-
your food.
I know, you know, he's like, oh, I don't wanna cook tonight,
I-
I get
we ordered
roast,
one night.
and then he'd be closed.
Anyways,
So-
so,
If you have it, I think we'd be willing to look at it. Sure.
no, I just, I was, doing some things, extra things today, and, I thought, well, I told my check into that, I did. So, I have it, and I'll
We're gonna give them to me and we'll.
play around with it, put some things here and there, and put it on the agenda, and
Does it does it give the definition of food trucks? Does
Yes.
Vermont have it?
yeah, there's an entire, ice cream truck, fire trucks, or, you know, food trucks, state licensed, you know, they get pretty as specific, we can be as specific as you want. I would lean towards the other.
They only cover them over there.
Yeah. Well,
If you
yeah,
said it on the
they-
truck.
Right now.
Sure, you remember the Dave Long car?
Yeah, my uncle was driving it up till about a year ago.
Well, it was parked next to my house for years, so. Really? Oh, yeah.
I can remember as a kid, we lived in a neighborhood of 5 streets, and you could hear that thing coming in. We
Like ants.
the
on the-
anticipation,
Yes.
you just couldn't control yourself.
They took away the Choco Taco, so those were the best.
So they refer to it as an itinerant vendor peddlers food sales. That's the heading. Itinerant.
I still miss the full scale dairy bar we used to have back in the early 80s, late
Oh, that
70s.
was nice down there.
That's, I guess, is the official name for food trucks and stuff like that.
Okay. Wow, when did that was?
God, probably early 80s. Yeah, well, they had like hamburgers, hot dogs,
Homemade
clam rolls,
pies.
there were
in
clam
town.
rolls for some.
Yeah.
Yep,
Where?
right across
Russell
from,
Carrier,
right across from,
Rum's,
Rum's
the
place.
little place.
That little
the
white
house.
place, it's actually bigger than it used to be. They put an addition on the
Oh,
front.
wow.
There was a window there, everything.
Eat inside, eat outside.
Oh, that's what,
They did special meals.
yep.
We need that.
That's so long ago, I can remember riding down there where my mother would throw me on the bike, the 10-speed with the plastic thing in the back.
Yes.
Yeah, that's long.
No helmet.
No, none of that.
No speeding cars.
Probably late 70s.
So they refer to this as lunch wagon, ice cream truck, mobile or temporary stand, like a food stand, on public property for the purpose of a food or craft sale until a license.
Public, what about
Public or
private
private,
property? Now, what about private
It's the
property?
same thing, public or private. So they're talking about on public property.
Yeah.
The town wants to give the license, they give it to them on public property. They give them a spot to do it.
So they don't need it for private property?
No.
Oh,
So, yeah,
So like-
designated spot.
Well, that particular one, but you can say.
We can do
yes,
whatever we
or no.
want.
You can do what you want.
This is just their bylaw. This is that's Morristown. So,
did VLCT have a template or no?
I didn't ask, I couldn't contact all the people down, but, I didn't go through that. I just did this a couple hours ago. Told somebody the other day.
Okay, any other new business?
Well, this, I don't know if this is the time to bring it up, just pertaining to a conversation we had earlier. I'm wondering if this thing with pulling down the shed from the church is really something I should be involved in. I think it's more of a health officer situation.
Why would it be health officer?
Well, they did show me the statute in Vermont. It's not zoning, it's the health officer because of asbestos or any
Isn't Stephanie our
contaminated
health officer?
materials. Pardon?
Stephanie, isn't she currently our health
I
officer?
think Lucas.
Lucas.
Oh, Lucas.
I
Yeah.
mean, it
Yeah,
would
so,
be
I
for-
mean, I know in the past if people have come to me and had a complaint that's out of my jurisdiction, I refer them. So if this complaint has come to me, do I refer it to Luke or do I just handle it and ask? I'm happy to handle it, but I'm asking you guys. Because I'm not the health officer. You can tear down, you can't tear down a building. Trust me.
Just to give it a little help there, when Lincoln tore down the house,
Which,
it was there one day and gone the next. It was that quick. And I
well,
was
this
like,
here,
oh my God.
I'm like, oh, something's missing.
Yeah,
I didn't
and it
even
was
see
it was a little
It's a hollow
single car
car
garage, am I right?
Where's that?
Is
Oh,
Okay,
right.
the church?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And it
It was,
was not part
bad
of
shape.
the internal.
It was added on later. It
Yeah.
wasn't part of the original building.
Right, but, I mean, Dave's getting nitpicky as he should, because it is a law, it's a lead-based paint law that
Right.
you have to disclose, and I
There
don't.
is, according to the state, when I called on Lincoln, because I was basically told to go S in my hat, and I said, I agree.
Recently?
Huh?
Recently?
Oh, no,
Oh, okay.
this was just before I left
Is that Lincoln up on Hudson?
the new house.
Oh, the new
Big
place.
red house that was out in front.
Oh,
Should
yeah.
be so well.
Should be
Shippies.
sold out, yes.
Yeah.
So, which I felt that the house, anyways, that, I was told that there was no state law about raising a house. And I'm like, it was okay, but what about abatement and stuff like
And
that?
that's
And
what
I
it
was
is.
told that the contractor, whoever did it, is responsible, they have a state license to do that. And I said, okay, so what is my goal? I mean, what am I
in all of this. There's no permit, we don't have a bylaw that says that you need a permit to take down a house. And so they said, well, if you don't have a bylaw, then there's nothing that you can do about it. So it's the state's responsibility. And that's the way I read it at that point. It's the state's responsibility. I don't know.
It's a contractor in the
That's
state.
kind of how I feel as a contractor.
Yeah.
But just like building, there's state rules for buildings, and we used to have something out there. If you're building, your contractor must be registered with the state and build according to the state laws. I don't know if they do it. Does anybody check?
No.
What if you want to build your own house? Do you have to follow the
What
state
if you want to
laws?
repaint your house and scrape
Yes.
the paint off the outside?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is the broader issue. I mean, you could really,
I mean, we
really
could
go down
open
the
up
rabbit
a
hole
major
with
can of
this.
worms with all this. I think just
Look at-
let her improve the building and let her do what she's doing.
you know, I remember when the Burtons were scraping the paint off their house that was probably there from,
You can
20s
scrape
or
lead paint,
30s.
but you're supposed to have plastic up and the
you're
whole area
supposed
boarded off.
to, yeah, you're supposed to contain it.
I mean, this could get really stupid if we wanted to. I mean, there's people doing work all
Exactly.
over town.
So
You could create a new bylaw basically saying just that. You need a permit in order to raise a house. So I think there should be a permit for that. And the only reason why is because then, like when somebody comes to the window and wants to build a house, Lori hands them a building permit. Well, they can't submit the building permit to me or to Deb now without their well and potable water and septic design. That is, you can't sign or approve a permit without that. And if you were to make them get a permit to raise a house, then you have some control over, hey, you need a certificate from your contractor or the
Wild's
health
house.
officer. So, and that
Wild's house.
protects
What if you wanna
us, it
leave
protects the
that-
neighbor, it protects, you know.
What if you want to leave the house up, but you're just gonna gut the whole entire thing? All the lead pipes, the
Well, that's what I would
asbestos.
do anyways, but
It's
you're not,
remodeling and.
Well, we have Wild's
Yeah.
house. That.
you have no control over that.
No.
But if somebody's knocking down a house next to Doug's house, you know, like the one tree over, and it's full of lead paint.
And all the dust is blowing towards your house. You would
Yeah,
like
I
to
mean,
know.
that's wrong.
It may trigger somebody to say, oh, maybe I do need to look into this.
So should these people be directed to contact the state so the state can enforce their laws? Or is it the town's responsibility to jump in and deal with it,
Good question.
right?
I don't think the
Maybe
state would be down here in time to
If they
do
got
it.
a problem,
Jump in
someone should
once,
call
and then
directly. If
jump
they
in.
have a problem, they should call the environmental health or whatever it
Would
is.
this be something maybe the health officer because of the
We could,
health
I mean,
things?
if he feels the complaint.
Yeah, and then, you know, if you see somebody doing something wrong, talk to them, whatever they think, and if not, call the state, say this is going on. Let the state
Did
does
Dave
it fine.
make an issue when Pete Greenbush took down
He
Mr.
did.
Reynolds?
Yeah,
You did?
Okay. So
He
that
said
was
there
an
should
issue
be,
then.
he said there should be a permit or something that, but he, yeah, I guess he did say help. And he's mentioned something about burning, but I'm not sure.
I mean, he
Well, there are some
has
burning
a
laws,
complaint. I
but
mean, he's not wrong. but-
No, he's not wrong about the permit by no means. I agree, that there should be a permit. I think we should have a bylaw that says that you have to get a permit. to
Should that
raise
go
a
into
house.
our zoning bylaws?
Yeah,
You would have to go into the zoning bylaws.
yeah. But that would enable her to say, okay, I can't approve this until I get a certificate from your contractor that there's no lead in asbestos.
Yeah.
Right.
So is there a clause in our bylaws now that says something about when you change the footprint of the building,
Yeah.
that you need a permit? And would that work or no?
Does it say footprint anymore?
In that case, if
We
the
have-
house burns down, then you are allowed within a year, I think, to rebuild. I don't think our bylaws say a year though, but rebuild into the same,
It does, I
Footprint.
think, it does have a timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right?
it might be,
if it burns down, you have the ability to rebuild in the same footprint. But
Yeah.
if you're gonna change the footprint,
You need a permit.
you need a permit.
Yes.
So the footprint, you could say, has been changed
Right.
without.
I mean, it's a difference of 100, well, what's the permit now?
For what?
The building permit.
Oh, ooh, we have many different
Yeah.
Categories.
categories.
Well, that was like 100.
Well, extra.
Yeah, but, okay, so the church down there, they took the garage down. Looks like they're building on the same footprint. Are they building a garage? But we don't know that.
I don't know,
If
I
it-
will, I mean, I'll look into that portion of it, but as far as, you know, that's kind of the past tense at this point, it's gone.
Yes.
But,
But,
either way, is she even gonna rebuild that little area?
I don't know, the cute little patio.
Mhm.
But the other thing is, technically, is there one side still standing?
Does it say that in the bylaws now?
Well, we've had a couple houses in town
Yeah.
taken down,
That's
but
right.
that one side was still
rebuild.
I
standing.
can't find that anywhere.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Just makes it a
Yeah.
renovation as opposed to a new structure,
Yeah.
then you don't need the new
I
structure.
mean, if your house burns down, you're not gonna have a side.
You're gonna have people that's gonna
Well, there is one side of that
change
garage.
things, they're gonna find
Yeah, there
loopholes.
is.
Technically, it's the building.
Yeah, there is one side, it's the
I,
building.
there's still
Yeah.
one side standing.
Yeah, they only took 3 sides down.
What year was that building built?
Well,
Garage isn't even original to that shop.
no, that's probably came when the priest did, because they said, you can see the little addition on the back.
Mhm.
Oh, the garage was there, but they had to build that little addition on the
Meat- that
back
was
so
a
he
meat
could
lot.
put his car in there. No, in the garage,
Yeah,
so he could fit his car in.
it was a general store.
Yeah.
It was a store.
Oh, is that what's a pad out back for?
That was the bingo hall out back.
In the church.
Oh,
No,
was that
back-
the scoop to
was-
go up into the building
Yeah.
or something?
There was a meat locker in the back where you could just put your money in or whatever.
All right.
It was a general store.
So it's a pretty old building, yeah.
Yeah, 1880 probably, something like that.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's the other thing, bingo hall, I just took that down.
Yeah.
I could wash the floor in there and the water would go right out between the wall and the floor.
Right.
Yep, just take a bucket of water and,
When did that come down?
Not that long ago.
30 years ago.
Come on, it
Did
wasn't
we
that
have a
long
permit
ago.
for that?
Well, 30 years ago was what?
I think it was.
Probably more.
was it
Probably 30 years
30?
ago.
30?
Yeah, this is a long time ago.
Yeah.
35.
But, wow.
Okay, yeah.
I won't say it.
So, do you want me still to?
I would say Luke.
I would pass that buck.
Yeah, I'm past this bus.
Or just make us
I think
all.
ours is health,
Salary.
whatever.
It's not gonna be a local, I mean, it's gonna be a state that would enforce something like that. It's not any local enforcement.
But the question is, and I go back to the Wilds and everybody else who has torn down something, did we enforce that? Did we make them give us a
No.
permit?
No.
So,
What are we doing? Why are we sending this to Luke now? Is it because
because
They
they
took
brought
the-
it up. He
they
wants
took
to
the
know.
garage down?
They took the garage down. It's too late.
Well, I don't think we
Fine.
need to do anything down there because it's gone, done. We didn't do anything with Wild or,
Right.
but maybe in the future we should
In
look
the
at.
future, I think it would,
We don't have
This
any
is
right,
just-
we don't have any right to do anything.
No.
We don't have a bylaw, we don't have anything that she didn't violate anything.
No,
Maybe her contractor did.
Yeah, but
Maybe,
but she did.
and, I mean, it's like,
Well, ultimately, someone
there's no permit needed.
Period.
no.
Well, unless we change our bylaws, then we shouldn't.
Right.
I really don't want to poke
No, I
a
think,
nest that's not necessary to poke.
but should we do something for the future though?
Yes, I think,
Look
I
into
like
it.
Jim's idea, to have that in, because I'm trying to, just a couple of years ago, there was something else, and I can't think of what it is, but it had to do with taking down something.
Well, that house on Mill Road that burned down, that's very near water, so that's gotta be done carefully.
Is there still an owner paying taxes on that, or?
Well, he's in jail.
He's in jail.
He's in jail.
For arson.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
tried.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so,
So what happens
and
with
the mortgage company is one of these online mortgage companies.
no.
So this is going to be years, this blight is going to be there for years.
So what
I'm
you
trying
need
to
is
make-
a health officer to call the state
Yes.
and create, and just keep adding on and keep adding on to where the town now has land suit, you know, you may end up having to spend a little money to do it, but
It's just
we're gonna end up paying
awful.
for it.
It's,
Or I would keep bugging the bank and saying, it's your responsibility,
I
take this
tried
money.
Well, that's what I
to
mean,
call
we're
the
saying for it.
bank, you
Make
can't get
Make it
anybody.
through.
River's more likely to take it before anything happens.
Then it becomes Halifax.
Yeah.
So I don't
It really
think
is
there's
not that
anything we
long.
have to do with the garage. As
Take
far-
a little bit
that's-
every year.
That's my opinion. And indoor work, if we want to remodel, we have nothing in our bylaws to stop us from remodeling our house and.
That comes during assessment and you're allowed to go, if you allow to go into a house.
Who would
Yeah.
even inspect it all?
What's that?
Who's gonna come and inspect the house that you're gonna gut out? It's
Well-
not gonna be anyone local.
Didn't Dave say, don't we need a permit, because if we're taking asbestos out of the
That'd be all
house?
state stuff. The state's not gonna, I mean, they're gonna
They're
come
not
down to
gonna-
Stamford every week.
I'm not gonna
No.
go in there and say, oh, that's,
Yeah, I don't,
did you encapsulate?
A lot of the sentiment sometimes I think kicks around town is just that we just don't want anything to improve. We don't want any, stuff to be around. That's kind of the sentiment I get every time something pops up, whether it's a bake shop, coffee shop, ice cream shop. There's always this sentiment that's just like, no.
well, it's just like our signs, I mean, they brought it up to our attention that it's a violation of our bylaws, or no, we didn't have the permit, right?
Right.
We didn't have the permit, so we took that down. And
A lot of
the
this, we
sign
just
was
have
too
told
big
all
for
of it
our
on
bylaws.
ourselves. We should have just left the sign up, let the state come down and take it down if they want to take it down.
Yeah,
There's the
hindsight.
sign, here it is. Come and get it.
Hang the 2 plaques, or 3 plaques on there and
Spent 2 years on the sign or more.
crazy.
But it's, that.
But we got,
Should have never been, had to take it down again,
No.
period.
we gotta stop trying to put up so many roadblocks if somebody wants to run a pizza joint or sell ice cream or have a coffee shop or something like that. If it's something that's suitable for the town, why do we always try to stop it? I mean, everyone in the room likes ice cream.
Yeah, yeah. But if it's against our bylaws, then we've got to enforce it.
Right.
Yeah,
There isn't
Right.
much
We
in
should,
the bylaws.
but
But it's not, we have to start looking at the, changing the bylaws and making ordinances and stuff, not to take it out of somebody's hand. It's to help people, right? So that's what we need to do, is we need to help each other, even if it's making a little bit of money and stuff, but,
well, something for the common good, right?
if,
helps
But it's
everybody.
stuff for the common.
if Aaron and them guys are down there selling ice cream, what's to say 5 or 6 other ice cream trucks come into town and just park on the side of the road? It's perfectly legal.
And not generate more.
Or they can park there.
It's perfectly legal for them to do it right now under our
We have nothing.
non-ordinances.
We have nothing.
But if they want to do it, then they're gonna have to pay a $150 seasonal fee from so and so,
Or
or
But who's gonna
$120.
boot them out? We don't have any law enforcement.
Well, that's.
So who enforces the ordinances now,
Well,
right?
Deb,
So
Yeah.
maybe the select board, you appoint or elect a constable administrative constable that serves ordinances, that's capable of doing, you know what I'm talking about. So, I'm not talking about a constable, I'm not talking about a police officer, I'm talking about a real live Vermont, and years ago, that was a police officer. But now they have an administrative one that serves paperwork, that,
One in our town in Arizona.
right,
Yeah.
and so a constable is nothing more than a service, right, like down in Massachusetts, they have a sheriff's department servicing warrants, or, not servicing warrants, but, notices, court appearances, land court, all that stuff.
I even wonder, technically, I mean, I wouldn't wanna do it, but aren't we authorized to issue like, well, for example, Luke can
Yeah.
write up a ticket to somebody? Technically, we could write speeding tickets,
Yeah.
because speeding tickets are not, you know, they're not,
We have that ordinance for it though.
If it's on our road, not on the main road.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm just throwing that out
No,
there. I mean, I'm not suggesting we do that.
Right.
I don't wanna be the one to go up and start
Right.
making cars stop. I get enough.
But I'm just saying that
I'm
the
retired.
board can appoint, I think it's an appointment, it doesn't have to be elected, but I think it's an appointment. You can appoint or elect, but a town
To
council.
serve
To
papers.
serve papers.
I think that would be wonderful.
And that's, you know, they do ordinances, they do.
You wanna do it?
Once years, as time progresses here, we're gonna need to implement more ordinances too.
The hard thing is to enforce them.
Exactly. So you have ordinances now you can't enforce.
Right.
I know all of you guys are authorized to do it. I know I was authorized to write citations for land stuff, but,
Okay, so we addressed what Dave's concerned, so we'll move on. Work on that.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for that, sorry, that made it a big deal.
Anything else under new business? So I make a motion to go into executive session regarding pending or probable civil litigation or a prosecution to which the public body is or may not be a party.
Second.
Did you say party? Party?
With the food truck.
So we can,